That was Amy Martin, a local musician and activist, leading off our program tonight on the subject of hate crimes. It was only a few days ago, on February 8th to be exact, that a fire gutted the home of two lesbian women from Missoula and their 22-month-old son. Only a few days before, these two women had received letters filled with powder that looked suspiciously like anthrax. These letters also carried vicious homophobic comments and were said to be from the army of God, as Amy's song implied. Two other Missoula lesbians, Carol Snetzinger and Nancy Siegel, received similar letters at about the same time. It seems quite likely that these acts of terrorism, and that's what they were connected to the fact that these four women had filed a lawsuit only a few days earlier charging that the University of Montana system was violating their constitutional rights by denying same-sex partners their rights to purchase insurance and other benefits that are available to married couples who are heterosexual, and even couples that are not married. So our program tonight is going to focus upon the reaction of Missoula to these crimes, which can be characterized as hate crimes, though they haven't been officially categorized as such yet. Our other panelists tonight with us, in addition to Amy, will be Will Cowdery, who's a licensed professional counselor and a longtime human rights activist in the community. We're first, before we discuss the issues and take your calls, and we anticipate that there will be a widespread response to what we're going to show you tonight. First, we're going to see a tape of the rally that was held at the First United Methodist Church on Saturday, February 9th. We're going to see about half of that tape tonight. In 2 weeks, on Tuesday, March 5th, we'll have another program on this same subject, and we'll also have call-ins at that time and see the rest of the tape. But for now, we want to roll the tape and give you about 45 to 50 minutes of the speakers and the music from the rally on the 9th of February, and then we'll take your calls. So let's run the tape.
Lesbian survival and visibility. We fire because in 1992, the New York Lesbian Avengers held an anti-violence march through the streets of New York. It was Halloween night, a night notorious for queer bashing. That night, they built a shrine for two people, Hattie Mae Cohen and Brian Mock, who a month earlier had been burned to death when their house was firebombed. They were members of the queer community. The Lesbian Avengers kept the shrine until Election Day, and with these words ignited the first fire-eating rituals. We take the fire of action into our hearts. We take it into our bodies. We stand here and now to make it known that we are here, and here we will stay. We stand here this afternoon to make it known that the horrific hate crimes that have happened here in Montana, our home, will not go unrecognized, unnoticed, or unavenged. We honor the survivors of the recent hate crimes here, and we support every one of you. We are here to say we will not live in fear and we will not be silenced. We take the fire of action into our hearts, we take it into our bodies. We stand here and now to make it known that we are here and here we will stay. We take the fire within us, we take it and make it our own. The fire will not consume us. We take it and make it our own. We take the fire within us. We take it and make it our own. The fire will not consume us. We take it and make it our own. Everybody. We take the fire within us. We take it and make it our own. The fire will not consume us. We take it and make it our own. We'll be outside again at the end of the speakers to kick off the rally. Thank you.
I will be trying to move things along this evening. It's very large now, much larger than I thought. Honor and privilege to be here. And I'd like to start out with music, because music unites all of us. And so we're very lucky to have the Montana Women's Chorus who show up for all these kinds of events. Thank you for coming, ladies. We'd like to sing a song for you. Join us at any time. It's a pretty simple song. It's also Buggleton and I believe, I don't have her name, I'm too nervous. We have a dream to be in a world that's truly free. We have a dream, a quest to calm this world's unrest. There'll be a change. You'll see, for we have a dream. We have a dream to be in a world that's truly free. We have a dream, a quest to calm this world's unrest. There'll be a change. You'll see, for we have a dream. Everybody. We have a dream. Quest to be in a world that's truly free. We have a dream, a quest to calm this world's unrest. There'll be a change. You'll see, for we have a dream. One more time. We have a dream to be in a world that's truly free. We have a dream, a quest to calm this world's unrest. There'll be a change. You'll see, for we have a dream. There'll be a change. You'll see, for we have a dream. We'd like to request the camera person move back somewhere, because there's a lot of people who can't see because of the camera. That's okay, I know it's hard to do your job, but we all kind of want to see each other. Again, I welcome you all. Thank you so much for showing up for all of our sakes. Thank you. We have quite an amazing list of people who have shown up to speak this evening, this afternoon. It's going to be pretty fast, pretty tight, so we ask your cooperation. All the speakers be ready to go when their turn comes. I'll do my best that I can with names and who's who, and I'm sure I'm going to mess it up a few times. And that's the joy of being a human being. So, right from the very beginning, we would like to invite up the Ministerial Association. There's, I believe, 3 different churches represented here this evening. We have Peter Schumer, Gene Collins, and Connie Seibot. Sorry, I knew I'd do that.
Dick, I think, was coming up. A number of different clergy want to stand up here just as a sign of our solidarity together and with all of us here. Dick Gay is a retired United Methodist pastor who lives here in town. John Garrity is president of the Unitarian Universalist Church here in town. Gene Collins is an Episcopal priest, lives here in town, serves a couple parishes in the Bitterroot. And Connie Seibot is the pastor of this church, and she wanted to issue a welcome.
I'm glad you are all here. You're welcome, and you are welcome to stay as long as you need to. Afterwards, to mingle and to know that this is a safe place, sanctuary, refuge from the world is in God's living room, and we welcome you. We do have child care, nursery care in the hallway parallel this room. If you have children that get antsy, there's child care providers there. And I just want to welcome you and hope that there is a way for peace in the middle of all of this horrible time, that we can somehow find our way by holding one another's hands. Thank you.
I prepared just a couple of short remarks. And I know that for myself, and I imagine all of us here today, my stomach turned and my soul felt pretty hollow when I heard about this attempted murder. And so it really is a very deep sadness that brings us here together this afternoon. And along with many of you, I'm growing weary of these sad gatherings. So there is a very deep and real sadness. But let me also say that there's a deep gladness to see all of us here joined together in compassion and with a deep sense of hope for a day when we don't have to cry together over violence and hatred. Now, lots of folks are going to be wondering what we are doing here tonight. Obviously, we are here in compassion and in solidarity with these good women who have been attacked so violently. But we're here for a lot of reasons as well. We're here because we all hope for a day when the fear is gone. We've all heard that silence is complicity, and that is true. We cannot, as people of conscience and as people of hope, be silent when our neighbors are threatened and attacked. When people of goodwill do nothing, hatred persists. We're not here so much to propagate as we are here to demonstrate that love is more powerful than hate. We are here to stand with those who have suffered. And we are here to demonstrate that we will stand up to those who would spew forth violence and hatred. So we're standing with, and we're standing up. And that's a powerful witness, more powerful than any of us alone can even imagine. We're not here so much to provoke, but rather to invoke the best that is within us, to invoke the spirit of peace, of solidarity, of justice, and gladness for the good things that happen when we come together lifting up love. And we do that with respect. We do it in the context of safety, in the midst of our differences, not in spite of them. We do it with hope for a new day that will dawn, and we will see each other through the light of love and respect. Now, all of us up here are preachers, and as preachers, we have been led to believe that God's creation of humanity is based on love. We've been led to believe that that love is given without ceasing, without qualification. And we believe that God is the author of our many diversities. And God wants to bring all of us together. God wants to bring the lion together with the lamb, the rich with the poor, the black with the white, the Hindu with the Muslim, the Christian with the Jew, the gay with the straight, those who laugh to be with those who cry. And what God hath brought together, let no one separate. So, good friends, we live in hope. Reverend King, in his ministry, would sometimes quote in his speeches the words of an old African slave preacher who said, "We ain't what we ought to be, and we ain't what we want to be, and we ain't what we're going to be, but thank God we ain't what we was." And so it is. We live in hope of what is yet to come, even with tears in our eyes. And we can't let go of that. We have trust, and we have history on our side, and we have our faith, and we have each other, and the story is not over yet, not by a long shot. So we should never give up, and we should always stand fast. We should stand up, and we should stand with, bearing witness to the power of love. Blessings to us all on this witness today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, and we really want to really express an incredible appreciation for the speed with which this church offered its doors to be open for this gathering. So we all need to let them know how much we appreciate. They went right to it, and we really appreciate it. A lot of appreciation needs to be given, and so forgive me if I don't remember everyone. I do want to thank this wonderful woman up here. Her name is, I just found it, is Maria Middleton. She's going to sign for all our people who can't hear. I would like us to also take a moment just to be with each other for a moment. Some of us are still reeling. This is such a quick reaction, but there's also a lot of us, all of us, I'm sure, need a moment just to kind of be here and get here and be with each other. So if you could, and I know touchy-feely can sometimes be out of the question, but this is a time for just reaching to the person next to you and taking their hand, take that risk, and just be here with each other for just a moment. Guys, it's important thing for you guys to do. Yeah, hurry up. Just remember, you're never alone in this. And this is the most powerful thing I've witnessed so far on this event, is how quickly these people were told they're not going to be alone through this. So let's just take a moment. You even look each other in the eyes a little bit. It's okay. It's your neighbors, your community. This is what gets us through hard times. Thank you. And I think in this moment it's the best time to bring up you folks. Nancy and Carol and Adrian and Carla.
it's pretty amazing to come here. I'm pretty overwhelmed and by all the love and support that's been coming our way basically since Monday. And I've known that problems of hate and violence can't be cured by individuals alone, and it's really clear to me that from the support of this community, that Missoula has it to overcome hatred and violence in our society and to make us have the kind of community that we all really want. Thank you.
All I want to say is, again, thank you for your love and your support, and especially your commitment to creating a safer world that really opens its arms to all people. Thank you.
Hello. Well, last night, about 2 o'clock, I was trying to sleep and I was lying in bed next to Carla and our son and listening to the two of them breathe, and I couldn't go to sleep because I thought I had to watch over them. And every time I tried to tell myself I was safe and that I could go to sleep, and every time I closed my eyes I saw images of smoke and fire. And I cried for a long time. And finally I started thinking about everybody who had called and talked to us and left messages, and everybody who's told us about what was going to happen tonight. And I imagined this room and what it was going to be like to see all of you here. I didn't think there was going to be this many here. But I thought, I don't have to watch over Carla and my son alone. You're all going to watch over us. And I feel like I'm putting my family in the hands of this community, and it's fun to say that we know that we're in your hands and that we think that that's a good place to be. Thank you.
Standing room only, I've been waiting for this. Without a doubt, being burnt out of our home is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It's the kind of experience that can make you lose hope. It can make you lose hope in the goodness of all people. But in fact, there is a lot of good in our world. And ever since we climbed out of that window and away from that fire, we have encountered nothing but good from our community. Everybody has embraced us. You have embraced us by coming here. Your generosity, your kindness, your friendship, and your compassion is what has kept us going for the last 36 hours, probably the longest 36 hours of my life. And I really don't know what I would have done without all of you. What happened to us may have made you angry. It may have made you very, very angry. And that's fine. But that kind of anger can lead to hatred, and that's not okay. And I'm here to ask you to channel that anger into something positive, into some sort of positive action. I want you to take that anger and use it to move you to build bridges across our community, so that no one ever need experience prejudice or discrimination, whether of the magnitude that we've experienced just recently or in much subtler and mundane ways in their everyday lives. No matter what group these people might belong to, no matter what personal identity they might claim. And so, I'd like each of you to take a moment right now and imagine an action that you personally will commit to take. And this could, in this coming week, to make the peace that we dream of a reality. It could be something as big as joining in future actions, could be sending money to something, doesn't have to be to us. There are a lot of good places you could send your money. It could be as small as talking to someone that might be a reach for you because you felt uncomfortable with them before because they're a little bit different than you. And so I'd all like you to close your eyes for a moment and really see yourself choose an action and see yourself doing this action. Imagine where you'll be, what you'll be wearing, who you'll be talking to, what the weather will be like. And now that you have that image in your head, I want you to go out and make that real. And that will really make a difference. And that's how you can help us. Thank you.
How much we appreciate you doing for each of us what we hope we can do for someone else sometime. Thank you. And this leads us into the fact that there has been established a relief fund. When you mentioned that part about, you could write a check. There's a relief fund been established for this event, and it's going to, the money will go, I believe, to, you just make the check out to relief fund. There'll be people passing the baskets around. We felt it was sort of a church ritual we would carry on with, which is baskets being passed. And Pride, the organization Pride will administer these funds to both couples and help them through both their any kind of needs. They may need security needs for a while. Their housing needs obviously are going to be coming up for them. We don't know what expenses are coming up, but Pride will help them through this by you all helping them, helping each other, helping them help yourself, helping. That's the relief fund. Next up we have who's actually reaching into his pocket right now. This is a wonderful moment. This is our mayor in action. As soon as he finishes putting it in the basket, I'd like to bring up our mayor, Mayor Kittis.
Well, I know there was a 5 in my pocket. First of all, I just want to say that your presence recognizes the strength of our community. The fact that we can fill up this room in a day's notice is something worth recognizing and celebrating. As part of I got a call this morning from Bob Reed, who is an old friend and also happens to be the chairman of the State Democratic Party, and he asked me to read a statement. So due to the 3-minute rule, that's going to be extremely edited, but I will give you part of it. This great nation is spending billions to wage war on terrorism overseas and at home. What will it do to combat terrorism in Missoula, Montana, or Laramie, Wyoming? Why must universities... University system employees be asked to risk their lives and subject themselves to terrorists by filing their case in court to get the same rights and privileges all other state employees enjoy? I urge the Board of Regents to act quickly before more innocent victims are threatened with their lives. To note, Bob has carried, while he was a legislator, he 3 times carried legislation to make these types of crimes a hate crime. And since he has left, Senator Ellenson has carried it twice, I believe. So our local Missoula delegation has worked hard to bring hate crime issues to the fore and to include gay and lesbian hate crimes as part of that group. For myself and for the city, I want to first of all offer both my and our sympathy but perhaps even more importantly, our admiration to Carla, Adrian, Nancy, and Carol. Again, we celebrate their strength. We are a community that celebrates people's ability to step forward and to do what they believe is the right thing, and to do it in ways that are respectful of the rest of the community. And that leads to the two concepts that I think are important today, or at least they are for me. The first is the notion of tolerance, and that as a community, tolerance ranks high with us. And in fact, tolerance of diversity is not only a bedrock, but it is the beginning of how we understand ourselves and how we find our own strength. We celebrate diversity. We go beyond tolerance in our community. And that is critical to us as a place. It is that celebration of diversity that gives us strength, gives us the ability to respond to situations like this, but also to create great beauty and to create a great civic culture in our community. The second notion that I want to talk about is equally important, and that is the notion of justice. That with our actions, there has to be justice. There has to be responsibility for the way we hold ourselves and carry ourselves and how we are in this community. And that when someone commits a crime, then justice is part of that process. And I can tell you, from my perspective as the mayor of our city, that our law enforcement authorities and those of the nation are going to prosecute these crimes to their fullest extent.
Okay, from the Outfield Alliance, we have Bruce Bigley. Where are you, Bruce? Oh.
Thank you. I'm a professor too, but I'm not speaking from notes. I'll be brief and characteristically. I'm glad that you're all here. I'm here as a member of the Outfield Alliance. I won't say I represent them because we're not that organized. But the Outfield Alliance is a group of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transsexual, and whatever else, and their friends from among the university faculty and staff. And we began this process, the process that has not ended here, but has led us to this point. 3 or 4 years ago, when we decided that we wanted to go through the actions of trying to overturn or to overturn policy which did not allow the partners of same-sex couples to receive the same benefits that partners of different sex partners could receive, married or not, in the university system. And we've gone through the legal channels, the administrative and legal channels, and have succeeded sometimes and failed at other times. But we've come to this point where the next step was to file this suit. And with the help of my colleague and friend who would be here if you were in the country, Casey Charles, and many other people in the Outfield Alliance who worked very hard, we've gotten to this point. Most important of that group are the four brave women who are the cause of our being here today. I've been trying to figure out, to wrap my mind around what happened. We certainly, none of us foresaw that we would come to this point. I keep wanting to say end here, but we're clearly not ending here. But we have come to this point. I spent most of yesterday in a state of denial, pretending it somehow wasn't that significant. That was before I read the newspaper article and heard from the victims in the meeting today. Today's been something of an emotional roller coaster for me. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what could motivate this, and I failed. I really can't conceive of this. But it seems to me what we have here, and Bob reading the statement stole my thunder. He got in ahead of me. But I think what we have here is, yes, a hate crime, yes, an attempted murder, but it is also an act of terrorism right here in Missoula, directed against our whole community, gay, lesbian, heterosexual, homosexual, our legal system, our churches, our community organizations, all of whom are represented here today, and I'll let them speak for themselves. Thank you.
Next up, we actually have Beth, who is actually the ACLU attorney representing these women, and we're glad to have you here. Thank you. Make sure that the people up in the back can hear the people speaking. Can you raise your hands if everything's okay? You can hear? We need more. More volume? Okay. Just so you know, you can be a little louder.
Okay, how's this? Wonderful.
So this is Beth again. Okay.
Yeah, my name is Beth Brenneman. Oh, that's too much. And I'm the legal director of the ACLU of Montana. And as you can imagine, we at the ACLU were horrified that our clients who filed suit to better protect their families have had their family security jeopardized by it. As you saw, these women are women of tremendous courage and integrity, and we have been and continue to be very grateful that they have stepped forward and put themselves on the line to challenge discrimination. John F. Kennedy once wrote that courage is when a person does what she must, in spite of personal consequences, in spite of obstacles and dangers and pressures, and that is the basis of all human morality. I'd like to again publicly thank these women for their courage and for standing up for who they are. It is an honor to know them. Thank you.
Next, we would like to have Carl Olson, who's here speaking for Pride.
Thanks. I have a couple of announcements to make. I'll try to be quick, loud, and not as long as Julia Roberts. First of all, many of you have been asking about these forms. Pride is sponsoring what we hope to be a huge ad in the Missoulian and possibly other newspapers. It's a signature ad. The statement's there, you sign on to it, you give us money to help pay for the ad. I learned today that it could cost about the same amount of money as my Kia Sportage. It could, so we need the money to go with the names, please. And we will have boxes by the doors with people with the boxes when you file out. And let me have the people stand up with the boxes just so you know who they are. Okay, and these are Pride board members from Helena and Polson. I also, last night there was an AIDS benefit in Helena. Just within hours of learning about the news, in Helena, the fine folks there raised $650 for the relief fund for Adrian and Carla. I am the director of Pride. It's a statewide advocacy organization for the gay, lesbian, bi, and trans community. My name is Carl Olson. Missoula will not be remembered as the town where a gay family was burned out of their home. It will be remembered as a place where everyone, from the mayor to school children, rallied around and cared for those victimized by hate. The arson and attempted murder are not the only crimes that have been committed here. Another crime put Carla, Adrian, Carol, and Nancy, and many of you at risk in the first place. The state withholds our rights. The state compensates us less for our work. The state tells the world gay families do not exist. That is a crime. Complacency is also a crime. Today, many of us have engaged in a rich discussion about appropriate responses to this act of hate. In my mind, anything that is legal, that does not harm others, is not only appropriate, it is called for. That includes acts of civil disobedience. We may not have the right to love, but we do have the constitutional right to act up, speak out, and boycott a system that has been boycotting us from 6 ways to Sunday. Last month, many of us celebrated Black History Month and explored the Black Civil Rights Movement, and asked the question, what would Martin Luther King do today? Were he with us today, I know what Martin Luther King Jr. would do, and so do you. Martin Luther King said, freedom is never voluntarily given up by the oppressor, it must be demanded by the oppressed. Notice that Martin gives us a mandate. It is our responsibility, our obligation to demand our freedom. I believe we have what it takes to create a major shift in the dynamics. We are galvanized, we are scared, and you and I are next, and that's all it takes. I want to extend this invitation. Please remember this date, June 7th. Mark it on your calendar, ask for that day off. Pride, in collaboration with others, will be planning a statewide protest for the right to love, the right to live, and the right for gays and lesbians to marry. Today is only the beginning. Between now and June and beyond June, I am confident there will be a wide variety of responses and actions, and we will be there. But I want to make sure you know, June 7th, please join us then. We'll have more concrete information coming out soon. In Montana, the gay rights movement got its feet wet with privacy rights. The right to privacy was a critical foundation laid by many hardworking activists who are here today. Now that we have the right to love whom we want behind our closed doors, it's time to ask for the rest. We need the right to publicly stand up and say, this is my beloved, to show off our families, to expose our talents and strengths. We need the right to take our love out of the bedroom and into the sun, and we need that right now.
Representative is here because they're on the list of speakers, but we were never told that there was such a person showing up. Good. that we allowed you to be here, and we're sorry you're not here. Oh, and you are, and we are happy.
My name is Ryan McGavin, and I'm the current fundraiser coordinator for Lambda at the university. We didn't really plan on being here. We just kind of came at the last minute. We're also trying to set up for our dance tonight, in which the proceeds, once the overhead is covered and everything, all the proceeds will be going to the relief fund. So we strongly urge anyone that can to come to the Elks Club tonight at 9 p.m. It's going to be running until 1 p.m., I believe. And it's $5 at the door, and that's going to be the cost for the entire dance. There's a bar. It's completely set up. Any age is welcome, and any sexuality. At Lambda, we were quite shocked to find out about, not only the letters that were sent to the plaintiffs, but also the burning. That was pretty shocking to find out about that. I was the one that got the call from the ACLU, and it was just kind of like a jaw-dropping thing that you just couldn't really fathom and take in at that moment. And I'm just completely impressed by all the people that are here. I had no idea that so many people would come out to this. So on behalf of Lambda, we thank you.
I hope you appreciate, I've got a high-tech microphone that's making me crazy. So if you just heard someone who really loud, it was me. Sorry. It's now my honor to invite up our senator, our state senator, John Ellison.
Thank you. As has been accurately acknowledged by previous speakers, the arson and attempted murder of 3 members of our community on Friday morning was an act of terrorism, designed not only to end 3 innocent lives, as incomprehensible and terrible as that is, but designed also to terrify, subdue, and intimidate an entire class of our community. This class, the gays and lesbians who live here in Missoula, wants nothing more than to be free to exercise their constitutional rights. The right to associate with whom they choose. The right to make personal and private decisions without interference, and the right to enjoy the completely equal protection of our laws. Much has been said of freedom in our country since the tragedy of September 11th. But none of us can feel secure in the free exercise of our constitutional rights as long as one group among us is systematically denied the ability to exercise those freedoms. That is why we must act together now as a community without any hesitation or equivocation to support Adrian, Carla, and their son, the victims of last Friday's attack. And we must speak with one voice to let everyone in this part of Montana and beyond, to let everyone know that we will not permit intolerance and violence directed against the gay and lesbian members of our community. And when the state legislature meets again in less than 1 year, it will be time to demand that discrimination against gays and lesbians be prohibited under our Montana Human Rights Act. And it will be time also to demand that our criminal code provide a special penalty for hate crimes directed against gays and lesbians. to our laws are long overdue. Thank you.
And it's also my privilege to bring up Ron Erickson, who's our state representative.
Thank you. I do represent House District 64. In House District 64 is 100 Rimrock. I'm awfully sorry that I haven't had a chance to meet Adrian and meet Carla in the past. Hope I get to do so later. I would have said it never could have happened here, it never could have happened there, and I was wrong. I wanted to say a few words about hate and cowardice and courage. Those words have mainly been said. Clearly this was a hate crime. And clearly we can do something legislatively about hate crimes. But as you heard, it's been attempted in the past. Senator Ellingson didn't mention that this last year, the anti-hate crime bill came to the House of Representatives. A great young representative named Brad Newman from Butte brought it in. It didn't get out of Judiciary Committee. Straight party line. Cowardice for a moment. The people who did this act and who sent the stuff through the mail are incredibly cowardly. And I think we have to remember them as cowards. I also think that Commissioner Croft, his attorney Leroy Schramm, the Board of Regents are incredibly cowardly. We are waiting for an act of courage from the Commissioner. I hope it happens soon. We've already seen courage. Beth Brennan talked about it well. But the four folks who brought this suit have shown it. We need to thank all of them for standing up and showing courage. Thank you.
Hello again. My name is Ralph Stone, and I hope that the stirring words that you've just heard and witnessed were as inspirational to you as they were to me and to our panelists, Amy Martin and Will Cowdery. And I hope that we can have your telephone calls, because we do think that Missoula citizens need an opportunity, a continuous opportunity, to respond to this horrific crime that has occurred. Before giving the mic to Will and to Amy, I want to just read a few things that came from the rally on the 9th of February. And these are in the forms of questions that I think can be taken personally by each of you. I found them moving, and I think they will precipitate further thought on your part and perhaps discussion in families, circles, groups that you might be in. The first question is, how does my fear to speak out against discrimination allow violence to happen? And we are all fearful, I think, at one time or another. A second question, who do I know that could be similarly harmed because of their sexual orientation, race, or religion? I'm sure we all know a few people, probably many people. How has this event impacted their lives? How can I reach out to my neighbors who may be living in fear? And we all have neighbors who are minorities in categories that fear for their lives often. If I am living in fear, what help do I need to keep myself and my family safe? Who can I ask for that help? Is my workplace actively non-discriminatory? Is my workplace welcoming to non-heterosexual people? If not, what can I do to encourage openness and full acceptance? And finally, what have I been taught, what have you been taught about sexual orientation in the past? How have my beliefs changed? How have your beliefs changed, and why? And I know mine have changed dramatically over the course of several decades. What does my religion teach about sexual orientation? Or if you're not a religious person, what do your philosophical beliefs teach you about sexual orientation? And do you agree with those religious precepts or philosophical traditions? And then I want to just briefly say a few words about what you can do in Missoula and whatever community you may find yourself in. Here in Missoula, you could put one of those rainbow flame signs in your home, in your car, in your place of business or worship. 2, sexual orientation is not explicitly included in current hate crime legislation in Montana. That point was addressed by several of the speakers. You can write or call your legislators and ask them to sponsor and support such legislation in the next session of the legislature. Here's a telephone number, 406-444-3064. You can write a letter to the editor of the newspaper, or you can write a letter to your business newsletter or to your church bulletin. You can contribute to the relief fund that's been established for the couples that were directly victimized by this violence. The checks can be made out to Relief Fund, and they can be mailed to the following post office box. Box 775, Helena, Montana, 59624. Another thing you can do is write or call the Montana State University Board of Regents and urge them to extend equal health benefits to all employees, regardless of sexual orientation. I'll give you that address. It's the Montana Board of Higher Education, P.O. Box 203-101, 2500 Broadway, Helena, Montana. You can volunteer at the Western Montana Gay and Lesbian Community Center. That telephone number is 543-2224. The Jeanette Rankin Peace Resource Center has established a website that deals with the issues surrounding this crime and the lawsuit, and you can go to their website for further information. GayMontana.com has a website that has information on the lawsuit that may be of use to you. So there are plenty of sources out there. There are plenty of things you can do. And I want to turn to Will Cowdery, who was only a few weeks ago, it seems, in New York City at Ground Zero. He was not at the Saturday rally because he was in Idaho attending a conference on dealing with the psychological and emotional implications of terrorism. And so Will is really up to speed on this issue, and I'd like to have him talk briefly about that subject.
Thank you, Ralph. Good evening. As Ralph said, my name is Will Cowdery, and I'm an emotional and psychological mental health counselor in Missoula. I've lived here for 12 years. And when this horrendous crime occurred, I was in Boise, Idaho, attending a training in regards to weapons of mass destruction and terrorism and the psychological and emotional implications on people that were exposed to terrorism and weapons of mass destruction. During the training, I happened to be watching CNN and saw on CNN that a terrorist act occurred in my own town. Up until then, I had been prepared to go to some other town, some other city, to help individuals, to help them feel safe again as much as they could, to help them have a sense of connection with others and support from others. And when I was watching the memorial gathering today for the first time, as all of you were watching, and I was very, very moved by how quickly we came together in support and in defiance of such a terrorist act in our own hometown. Terrorism, as we're beginning to learn more and more about it, is its basic principle is to cause fear, to cause us to change our routine, to cause us to question our safety. And certainly this is happening with many of us in town here. And I'm certainly not saying that we should not be concerned with our safety. But we should do everything that we need to do to mentally and emotionally take care of ourselves in a safe way. Certainly being aware that until this perpetrator is arrested, or perpetrators, that we need to have a heads up. We need to be looking out and taking care of ourselves. But at the same time, we need to continue routines that bring us a sense of peace of mind, peace of physical and mental well-being routines. We don't let someone change our lives by such a terrorist and cowardly act that has occurred in town here. The other thing is that we reach out to people. We talk to people. We tell people about our fears and our concerns. But we also want to talk about our hopes for the future in regards to equality. We had many, many wonderful speakers speaking from the heart, speaking with love and speaking with experience that we shouldn't be giving up now. We shouldn't be hiding now. But it's important that we continue to seek support from one another and to reach out and to tell our stories. We've suffered a loss in town. I've suffered a loss myself, that loss of the sense of innocence of living in Missoula, Montana, and terrorism happened someplace else. And the best way to deal with a loss like this is to tell your story, to share your feelings with people, to talk about your experience, maybe where you were when you found out about the arson fire, this terrorist act. Also, speaking with courage, whether we're contributing to the welfare and the well-being of the folks that lost their home, or we're speaking to our legislatures, or as Ralph said, you know, having something in our windows at home that says that we are standing up against terrorism, that we're not going to be put down by terrorism. Reaching out to others. Information, you know, getting as much information about what is going on with the police investigation, understanding what's going on. Information can be very, very helpful for us. Action, taking action. As Ralph just noted, there's a number of things that we can do, average people, that can make a difference in our town, in our state, and in our nation. That having the sense of courage, the courage to stand up, to be counted in support of gays and lesbians having the right to love, having the right and the benefits that would be accorded anyone else in a loving, committed relationship. We need to have the courage to stand up and to speak out. That means contacting our legislatures, contacting the Board of Regents. As Ron Erickson said, we need to be contacting those people. We need to be talking to Mr. Cross. We need to be telling them that they're sitting on their hands can be duplicity in crimes like this by somehow making people less than to say that they aren't eligible for benefits and such. But once again, our mental and emotional health and well-being is very important now that we have suffered a terrorist act in Missoula. And we need to be taking care of ourselves. We need to be eating well. We need to be exercising. We need to be continuing routines that bring us a sense of well-being and wellness. Many of the things that were said on the video tonight, I heard in Amy's song tonight. Many of the qualities that people were asking for people to have and to stand up for and to support one another were found in her song. And I don't mean to put her on the spot now, but I would like if she could at least tell me more about her being moved to compose and express her feelings in this song, and what this song means to her, and what maybe what she wishes it will mean for others. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot.
Oh, that's okay. Ralph warned me.
Okay, well that's great then. So I would like Amy to, I'm real interested in that.
Well, the song is called Phoenix, and it's subtitled Letter to an Arsonist. So I wrote it on a Monday night. It was the Monday after the Saturday rally. And I was so moved by the amazing community response. And I just felt like what these criminals have done is not only cause destruction and fear and hate, but they actually unwittingly have sparked an enormous outpouring of love. And I guess I just was wishing that they could have been there at the church to have seen that, to have seen Missoula come together, gay, straight, and everything in between, and everything outside of any boundaries. I think people were represented there, and there was just an enormous feeling of unity and love in the church. And on the bridge afterwards as we carried candles out. And at the same time, I felt like whoever did this is a human being, and that it's very hard for any human being to look into the eyes of a child and not be moved by the innocence and the beauty of all children. And so I guess in some ways it's a sort of a song of hope that I think, you know, as Carla was trying to make the point in her speech that day, that we don't want to respond to this hate with hate. We want to try and see these people as humans as much as we can. And I think an appeal to their humanity is really the only truly lasting way out of this. So that's kind of where the song came from. And also, I mean, there's anger in the song, because I am angry and I'm scared, and it just kind of came out one night. I don't know. I guess one thing I think that's important to keep in mind with this is that it doesn't matter if you're gay or not. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or not. It doesn't matter really, you know, what category you happen to fit into at the moment. I mean, my personal view of sexuality is that it changes over time, and that whatever I might claim to be now, I might not be next week or 10 years from now. And so, you know, I've basically, you know, had a straight lifestyle up until now, and who knows, you know, what'll happen in the future. But I guess I just feel like it's really important to say that just because I'm basically straight, it doesn't mean that this is not about me too. And I think that anybody who is choosing to stand next to Carla and Adrienne and Carol and Nancy at this point has to understand that we're both putting ourselves at risks, and we're putting ourselves on their side. And it isn't, I guess I feel like sometimes in the discussion we can, either people of really good intentions can make an us-them barrier between, you know, the straight people and the gay people, and we need to do good things for gays and lesbians. But I don't want to look at it that way. I feel like it's me, it's we, it's us. And the division is not between gay and straight. It's the division is between people who want to put hate into the world and people who want to put love into the world. And I want that division to be erased too, but right now that's a real division. And I just feel like it's really important to take this personally. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is, to take this personally. And I guess that's kind of where the song came from. I took this act very, very personally. And it's scary right now. And so all of that's kind of mixed in there.
Yes, very, very eloquent, Amy, of explaining it, because I don't think often we get that opportunity to have a singer and a composer. They describe what's going on, and this was one of those moments which was really powerful for you and for everybody, as you say.
I'd be interested from, you know, if any of the listeners have ideas about how do we change the culture instead of, you know, people just saying, yeah, well, I really want to support them. I just see that whether you're gay or straight or whatever, that when we advocate for peace, we're advocating for humankind. It's just not one group of people here that we're standing up for. As you eloquently said, we're standing up, everyone is standing up for everyone. It just isn't, I mean, we need to look at Native Americans and just the prejudice that occurs with them each day. And so, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, that we change the culture. When people change their beliefs, then that becomes a new culture.
Right.
And that becomes the foundation for which that culture is built on, is our people's beliefs. And unfortunately, for everyone to really come together, we sometimes need a horrendous, impactful incident or act to occur, and then we realize that it's not us and them, that it's all of us, that because I have a particular church that I go to, I could be targeted for that. I'm not sure.
Right.
But I mean, that's certainly possible.
Or just because you choose to stand up, you know, next to the victims of this crime. Or I think, you know, part of that is understanding. I think that all of us on our day-to-day lives don't often appreciate or understand how much different civil rights movements impact all of us. You know, the way the civil rights movement, you know, it wasn't just for blacks, it's for everybody, and we all reap the benefits from the work that was done. I mean, all kinds of civil rights, you know, crimes are now prosecuted under legislation that was passed in the 60s. And the same with the women's movement. You know, I think it's certainly not just for women. Men benefit from it enormously, and I think the gay rights movement really applies. I mean, the right to be free and open about your sexuality and about your different choices, it enormously impacts culture as a whole, and I think it makes us all much more liberated and at home in different parts of ourselves, and gives us a freedom, you know, from a type of sexual repression that's really intense, and especially in this country. And so I think, you know, we kind of all go about our lives reaping the benefits from that, no matter what category we might fit into. And it's times like this, I think, that we really need to understand that it's not just a fight for somebody else to fight and then we all get to reap the benefits from it. It's like we all need to take responsibility for that and ownership of it. So.
The old adage that when freedom is diminished anywhere, it's diminished everywhere, and we're all the lesser for that diminishment. And I was listening to you, Will, how, you know, is this going to change? And I remember something that Christine Kaufman, the co-director of the Montana Human Rights Network, said a number of years ago in relationship to the support or lack of support for including sexual orientation in the hate crimes bill. Casey Emerson, who was a legislator from the Eastern District, had equated same-sex contact as rape. He said to me, this is the equivalent of rape. 4 years later, he admitted before Christine and a group of legislators that he had made a terrible mistake, and he changed his vote and voted to include sexual orientation. This was a conservative Republican legislator. So people do change. Chris said it's going to be one by one. We have to convince people. And that's why each of us is important, because we all know people, as I was saying earlier, who are minorities of one kind or another. And often it's only when we see that these people are in our own family, they're in our own circle, that things break through for us, and then we can hopefully go out and talk to other people about the views, and not be afraid of saying, yes, I was quite prejudiced before, but I'm changing. I think we have a call, Will.
Yes, caller. We don't have a call.
Not yet, at least. Katie will cue us.
Line 1.
Well, the caller is beeping.
Yes, caller.
Oh. Is there a speakerphone button?
No. ICM?
What do we do here, Katie?
ICM? Maybe I should take it off hold.
Now push speakerphone and line one.
Yes, caller.
A volume here.
I think we just hung up on the caller. I apologize.
Oh, sorry, caller, that was my fault.
Call again.
I
We'll
thought that's
try
why it
to get
wasn't
this
coming on the
straightened
speaker,
out.
because it was
Yeah.
off the hook.
Well,
Well,
this-
go ahead, Will.
Oh, I was just going to say that, you know, our civil rights are always at risk. And certainly, we're seeing one group of individuals that their civil rights are at risk now. And so we need to understand that we could be the next one. It's not just them.
Right.
It's, you know, and especially in a terrorist act like this. Okay, we're going to, yes, caller.
Yes, I just tuned in to your show, and I understand you're talking about people being tolerant of one another.
Yes.
I live here in Missouri for about the last 18 years, and I myself have an invisible disability, and meaning that people don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been banned from where I used to go to my bank. I've been banned from going to a restaurant. I feel very much hurt by all this.
Yes.
But I understand that people just don't want to deal with you when you're a problem, meaning that when they don't understand what you're going through and they have the means of not permitting you on your property, on their property.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of pain that goes along with that.
Yes.
I've had trouble at the university in dealing with people. I've been, banned from a certain store, even at the university too. And I just think that, in my case in particular, that people just, it seems, will not accept you because they just don't want to tolerate you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if they had a little bit more patience and acceptance, that it would go a long ways.
Oh, I agree with you.
And it hurts especially when you have to, in my case, for example, I have to ask people to go in the store and buy coffee for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this, is very hurtful, but I think that by my example of tolerance that I have to practice on my own, in accepting this, because I am going to be leaving soon from the state of Montana. I just feel that there seems to be this majority of people who just don't seem to understand my particular type of disability in it.
Yes. Well, I appreciate your insights about that, and I appreciate your tolerance of others that don't seem to be available to understanding you, and I certainly wish you well.
Well, again, I'm going to get some good medical care, but I just want to say this, it's by example alone that by doing things by example, actions speak louder than words,
Yes, I agree with
and I
that.
think that's a very key point here.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for calling in, and good luck to you.
Yes, bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, I think one of the provisions that's not in the current hate crimes bill in the legislature deals with disabilities. So it's not just sexual orientation, that
Oh, yes.
it's gender and disability that we're trying to get included,
Yes.
although the right wing constantly focuses upon sexual orientation because that's the easy whipping boy. But
Yes.
disabilities of all kinds obviously are part of what we mean when we're talking about providing equal rights to people.
Yeah.
And we've got to certainly be conscious of that.
Well, I think Amy's got one more song left in it.
Amy's going to close our program tonight with another song, and as she's setting up, I just want to thank her again for singing that beautiful song that she opened the program with. And for all of you who are hearing her for the first time, you should be advised that she's made a couple of CDs and she performs regularly in Missoula when she's not gallivanting in her activist career around the country. So take it away, Amy.
All right, this is a song called Prayer to Mama God, and it's the first song that I wrote following September 11th. Kind of also relates to that issue we were talking about how to respond to hate in a non-hateful way. I was struggling with when I wrote this song. So. Dear Mama God, who art here on earth, I have a confession to make to you. I'm no different than the ones I criticize in these angry times. I am at war with them. Their arrogance and brutality astounds me. They think one murder justifies another. Help me, I am so scared, Mother. I don't know how to fight them without becoming like them. She says, you can't fight war with war. You can't stop violence with violence. You can't conquer hate with hate. My daughter, look into your own heart and start there to make peace, to make peace in a world at war. Dear Mama God, I want to be a hero. I want to say or do something that will change the world. Is it you who put this desire in me, or is it just my ego? Harness my will to your wisdom and purpose. Oh, you can't fight war with war. You can't stop violence with violence. You can't conquer hate with hate. My daughter, look into your own heart and start there to make peace, to make peace in a world at war. Oh, forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Forgive me my sins, help me forgive those who sin against me. Dear Mama God, I am full of arguments, reasoned explanations, good justifications, but the truth is, the only thing I truly know is that my heart can find no logic behind